Ellen McCauley, Pray It Off, Syracuse, New York. And as always, I put something behind the food log because I believe in no wasted space. I think everything has a place to give people a thought or an expression. And I really liked this, this quote because I've said it in my own way every week. If we can share our story with someone who responds with empathy and understanding, shame can't survive. If I tell you that, I was called names and mocked and derided, and you look at me like, oh, Ellen, I love you, it's okay, you survived it, you're stronger now. You get strength from sharing things with your group or sharing things that Pray It Off. And just about everything we understand. We might not have gone through the same exact thing, but we understand it. We understand people's pain. And this group, and someone said at work to me, how many years you been doing this? And I said, well, I've been doing it 13, but we did have 18 months off for the pandemic. And they go, don't you get sick of it? And I said, you know what? I think of the group members as the finest people I've ever met. And we're all weirdos in our own way. And that, I kind of love that about you, that I'm a weirdo, you're a weirdo. It makes it even better. And I notice that people who don't think they're weirdos don't even laugh because they're probably the biggest weirdos of all. But the fact of the matter is we come here and we share our story. And I think Darlene said it when she said, Ellen struggles right along with us. And if I was a Barbie doll who was up here going, you really need to eat healthy, you'd be looking at me like, I hate your guts, get out. It's like I struggle with you. I know how you feel. It's called peer engagement, and that's one of the greatest therapy methods that are coming out in 2021. We've just hired a ton of them. People who have shared experiences. There are so many people overdosing now, so people who have kicked those habits, they get hired and they go and they talk to people. Oh, I know how you feel. I've been there. My son's been there. My daughter's been here. Here's what we've done. And they have more credibility because they've lived through it. They're living through it. And that's why we all have credibility here, because we're struggling with the same issues. And weight isn't the only issue. It's everything else that happens in life. And it's funny because It's a Wonderful Life is one of my favorite movies. And there's a line where George Bailey couldn't go to World War II because he was 4F because he hurt his ear when he saved his brother when he dived into the water to pull him out. And so instead he stayed home and fought the battles of Bedford Falls. So from the first time I saw that movie, I say that all the time. I say, like somebody will say, how's your day? I go, well, I'm fighting the battles of Bedford Falls. Because isn't that what we're doing? Every day we have our own Bedford Falls battles, whether it's family, this or that. And it's so funny because I talked to my 26-year-old son on my lunch hour today. I said, how you doing, baby? He goes, well, I'm fighting my battles of Bedford Falls. So it's living on. But you know what's interesting, though, is it's easier to fight these battles when we're doing it together. It's hard to deal with these negative emotions alone. And one of the things that I noticed that people in this group who I love have a tendency to label emotions. Like they'll say, I was good last week, or I was bad, or I hate myself, or I'm really doing great. Most people don't really say I'm doing great in the group. They usually just say I hate myself. So the thing I want to talk about tonight is negative emotions, because they really do affect our quality of life. I have to say I was extremely unhappy over the pandemic. I was mad. I was like, how can this be happening? I was worried. I was anxious. A lot of us didn't have a lot of positive. You couldn't see people you loved. It just was not a good time. And now we're on the other side of it, but are we? You know, there's still 151 people who were tested positive today. 2 people died. You know, there's still problems. we're wearing masks. We're being careful. So it's hard to come out on the positive side. And here's some tools that maybe we can work on. And you know, usually, and I like this, there are no good or bad emotions. You shouldn't even label emotion, because every emotion has its own value and its own usefulness. Like this morning, I was feeling a little stressed about all the work I had to do, so that prompted me on. I certainly didn't procrastinate, but it led me to prayer. And see what I said? Led me to prayer. Before pray it off, I would have tried to do everything on my own, pull myself up by my own bootstraps. And my bootstraps were pretty flimsy. Sometimes they broke, quite frequently. So one of the first things we feel is that we have no control. You know, I have no control over these emotions. They just come. I just blurt these things out. I have no control. The thing is, something that happens may make you feel angry, but that doesn't mean you have to react in an angry way. Like the other day, someone texted me about my opinion on something, and I really didn't like it. I was like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't want to do that. I don't. So I said to my husband, they don't want my opinion. They want me to just say, it's great. They don't want my opinion. They want, not only do they want me to agree with them, they want me to be happy about it. And I was all mad, and I was going, bah, 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 to bah. And so then he goes, what are you going to do? I go, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I got my phone and I wrote, sounds great. Yeah. I did exactly, and guess what? It's over. I agreed with them, and they're happy. They think I'm happy, and I was mad about it. I told Bob. I said, that felt really good. I could have caused a big fight, but I didn't. I just said, sounds great. I said, that was easy. Why didn't I do that 50 years ago? Right. Why have I been fighting these things all these years? So anyway, you can choose to respond in a positive manner. And you might say, well, Ellen, weren't you really going against what you really thought? Guess what? Sometimes you can just tell your husband what you really think and just go with the flow to get along if it's not that big a deal. And that's the thing. Look at the deal. Is it a big deal or a little deal? If it's a little deal, you say, I'm going with the flow on this. I mean, if this person said, I need you to give me $1 million, and I said, sounds great, I think I'd be in trouble then. So it depends on the deal. And you know what's really funny? A lot of people, especially our children, our adult children, they predict our emotions. We don't even have to do anything. They go, well, I was going to tell you, Mom, but I knew you'd be mad. I knew you'd be angry. So I decided I had to lie about it. I had no choice, because you would have reacted in a very negative way. I said, oh, so I've done nothing. So I don't even have to talk. I don't have to think. I don't even have to really live, because you've already predicted my behavior in every scenario. Don't people do that? Anybody else? Yeah. They go, I didn't know it. I knew you'd be mad. I knew you'd be sad. I knew you'd be this. I knew you'd be that. I knew you'd be disappointed. So they predict your behavior. And what I love to do in those cases is when they're predicting your behavior, then just give them the complete opposite. Now, I know you're going to be mad, Mom, but I want to tell you, this is what I'm going to do. And I say, I think that's a great idea. And they're like, what? Well, let me tell you why I really want to do it. I said, no. Go ahead. I think it's fabulous. Great. Are you kidding? Do you really mean that? They don't believe you. So this is where you got to know when to be mad. You got to know what's a big deal. You have to deal with it so you don't hurt yourself. You know, if you're not going to hurt anybody else, don't hurt yourself either. The usual not so smart way that many people deal with their emotions is they avoid it, or they deny it. And, oh my gosh. Oh, and I added a third one. Or they blame somebody else. Avoid, deny, blame. So many people handle their emotions this way. So take pray it off. In order to avoid disappointment, it is best not to try at all. 2 people quit the first night. They said, I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to quit. If you avoid, now I'm talking about losing weight for health. Now, if you've got 5 pounds to lose and you want to avoid it, good for you. But if you've got 50 pounds to lose, you know, I just think it really helps your health. That's what I'm talking about. Also, denial. You know, when things are going to make you angry and you don't want to get angry, instead of dealing with it in a positive manner, you choose just to deny it. You know, and then other people say, you know, have you talked to your son lately? And you haven't talked to your son in 3 months because you're avoiding him because you had a little disagreement and da-da-da, but you don't want to tell your friend that, so you go, oh yeah, everything's fine. You're denying there's an issue. That's not good either. The new smart way is just stop. You got to stop. And this is what I did when I got that text. I stopped. And I said, why is it making me, and I even said to Bob, why am I getting angry about this? And we brainstormed it. I said, am I mad about this? Do I think that? Why? Why do you think it is? He gives me a perspective, goes, did you think about that? I'm like, yeah, I did, but thanks. And then he says, what about that? And I'm like, I didn't think about that. You're right. And then you brainstorm, and you might say, Ellen, I've got no one to brainstorm with. I'll brainstorm with you. Call me on Sunday afternoon. I'll say, wow, what about this? What about that? We need to stop. Even wait till the next day before you react. Stop and think about it, and the next day deal with it. And then you have that little space there. Take those negative emotions and have it guide you to a positive action. This is very important. Think of a negative emotion and then quickly interrupt it by thinking, saying, doing something totally bizarre and unexpected. Now, a negative emotion isn't just anger. A negative emotion is, what if this is the last time I see my house because I might die today? You know what? I've had that thought sometimes. Because sometimes I'm under so much stress, I think these negative, crazy thoughts, and then I have to stop it and say, you're going to live forever, Ellen. What are you talking about? You're going to live forever. That's my bizarre thought. I say, you're going to live forever, and then I can deal with it. You have to think of something, laugh, turn the music off, sing disco. You have to interrupt that negative thought, especially if it's fear. And I'm not as afraid to fly as I used to be because I'm old. And I've had a nice life. But if you are afraid of flying, you just have to think, okay, I could fall down the stairs and break my neck. I could get in a car accident. You could think of all the things that you could do that besides flying. Or if people hurt you, I mean, how many times is someone like, you think they're ignoring you and you go through all this upsetness about it and they didn't even see you. And you're making a big deal out of it. You misinterpret a situation. At the time, Bob was in Wegmans, and he saw this guy, and this guy completely ignored him. So he came home, and he says, I can't believe this guy totally ignored me. And I said, well, maybe he didn't see it, Bob. I'm sure maybe he just didn't even see you. And he goes, why are you diminishing my snub? I was snubbed. So I said, well, I didn't mean to diminish your snub. If in fact you were snubbed, that's awful. I'm just giving you an alternate thing that might have happened, you know. And we had a big laugh. We still say it to this day. Remember when you diminished my snub? So, but think about it. If you think someone's snubbing you, maybe they didn't even see you. Also, know that you are guided and protected by God. Everything happens for a reason. So trust that what happened is the best option in the ultimate long-term plan of your life. I want everyone to underline that because so often when I'm having a bad day at work, I dredge up every mistake I ever made, including in 2008 when I didn't convert my 401k to cash and lost most of it. I think of every mistake I ever made so that I'm still working at 67. So the thing is, you can't do that because God knew what he was doing. He knew I needed to be here right now doing what I'm doing. There is no mistakes with God. You need to set a new goal, and you need to realize that there's big things to get concerned about and small things, and just not worry about the small things. And also, there's a thing such as subjective normalcy is what I call it. Just because something is right for you does not mean it's right for everyone else. Sometimes I get really mad at work because there's a recycling bin for paper and there's a garbage right next to each other, and people will put paper in the garbage. And I'll go over to the garbage and I'm like, it's right there, to myself. I'm like, can't think, just, and you go like this, you put it in there, blah, blah. I get all angry about the recycling and I'm thinking, it's okay. You can just take the paper out of the garbage and put it in the recycling bin, which is what I do. So I'm the police now, but at least I'm not getting angry over it. So the final thoughts are, think about it. Count to 100, wait a day, and don't sweat the small stuff. And you might say, Ellen, recycling really is the small stuff. Oh, no, it isn't. There's the environment we have to look at. But, I mean, don't take yourself so seriously. I'm going to stop right there, Bob.